Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our live coverage here on the B stream for the DreamHack Masters Malmö. I am Vince, joined by Dust. We're going to be taking all the proceedings on the B stream over the next 3 days. It's going to be a real marathon of Counter-Strike. There are so many matches coming up. And our first stop is on train, and it is G2 against Furia. Now, Dust, we are in the midst of roster mania right now, and both teams have been affected by it. It's a bit of a mind screw, really, how many teams are coming into this. Pretty much the first time in their current roster.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much I was looking at it. Of the 16 teams we have here in Malmö, really only 5, maybe 6 teams actually have somewhat stable rosters. We have several teams here debuting brand new lineups, and some of the other teams have only had their lineups together for maybe a couple of LAN events at most. So there's definitely a lot of weird stuff going on because of that. And really the biggest one of all is actually in the server right now. That's G2, because their move literally got announced yesterday. And I can't imagine they've had a lot of time to actually practice and prepare with each other leading up to this event, bringing on Nex and Hunter on board. And this was actually the craziest move to me because it was the one that you just didn't see coming. I mean, yeah, there were reports out there about it, but when you really thought about it, like, man, really, you're going to take an all-French team and make it international? That's pretty wild. You know, that's definitely a big experiment that could either go great or could go horribly wrong. Then Furia, yeah, they made a big change that they're debuting at this event as well, bringing on Henny in place of Abel J. And the big question there will just be who's the primary operator of this team. That's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on in this game.
Absolutely, is of course it's art that also picks it up from time to time. So yeah, I mean, I suppose maps like Train, especially on the CT side, obviously you can get those double AWPs in play anyway, but the primary AWP are very much open for debate. Apparently G2, as you'd expect, now going to be calling in English. Before it was always French. So that could be an interesting turn as well for the three Frenchmen in the team.
Yeah, it is worth noting that a couple of these players do have really good English. Like, obviously, Omnic played on that Misfits team in North America with Sean Garrett and Shazam and such, so he's used to, you know, speaking in English, or has done it before. Kenny S, I know, has pretty good English. Jax, though, I heard, doesn't really have the best English. Even the owner, Carlos from G2, said as much. So that's going to be real curious how the communication breaks down, and also how the roles shake out. This is definitely a really weird project that G2's got together right now. We'll have to see how it works as they start on their CT side. Furia have a good bit of utility for a pistol round, and they seem to be gathering up over towards the inner hall, so it seems like we should be seeing an explosion here on the inner bomb site in a pretty relative short amount of time.
It's looking that way. It's quite slow, though. It's quite late, but they do have plenty of grenades. 2 smokes and flashes. They're now tossing them out, so anticipate the engage to be coming in momentarily. Flashes over. Hunter chips in with the first kill. The CT's holding the line for the time being. They haven't been able to get across to the site, Furia. They're not able to get that bomb planted, which is desperately what they're requiring to do. Gives them options going forward. Hunter is still landing shots left and right. But finally, K Serato will put him down. The bomb will follow. Now G2 starting to make moves in. They've got a smoke and they do have a kit. So they can still do work from this point, but they're taking damage on the approach. It's Jax who's being shot from Henny, the back of the site. Yuri super low. Amanek nearly finishes him off after landing the headshot onto Henny, but now he's the last man standing for the CTs, but not for much longer. Fury are going to claim first blood in this best of 1.
Yeah, good start for the new lineup here on Fury on the pistol, and this is a weird map for them. I feel like this was a map that was very hit or miss with their older lineup. They had an 8-7 LAN record in this map coming in. Some of their losses were to some teams you would never expect them to lose to as well. Didn't have that many big wins, so it's definitely kind of crazy to me that we did see it come the train. As far as G2's train goes, who knows, man? Like, this is a brand new project. It's really hard to read them at all. We are going to see the scouts out in full force, and Jax with a couple of CC frags up close on the ladder room. What a debacle this has been for Furia to start the round.
Certainly not what the doctor was ordering, especially considering, of course, after winning that last round, they went heavy in with some assault rifles. The Galil and AK still stand, but Henny so close to death, and everybody from G2 still standing. 3 scouts able to tag down these players. Henny, though, gonna quickly rip to his left side and take down the oncoming Hunter before he is dealt a swift blow, courtesy of Vinny, and they've done it. G2, not only do they take the round, they've got an AK under wraps. This is looking like it's going to be a very rough start for the Brazilian.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough pill to swallow if you're Furia. Have a pretty good pistol round, immediately lose the next round, mostly to scouts and a CZ is what did you in. And that AK is going to get carried over for Jax. 2 scouts are still in place. Some MP9s. Nex and Hunter know that Furia's money is pretty low. They're not going to be able to afford too much. They're going to try to milk some cash with those SMGs.
As you say, they're desperately seeking those SMG frags, but of course, plenty of firepower behind it. Jack is going to be taking his AK and Top Dog. Some noise has started to come over from the B site. They only had the one player there. It was Nexa, and he's been charged down by the CZ. Are they going to return the favor? Is another force spy going to come out ahead? Scout taking front and center. Case Serato using the MP9 against the oncoming CTs. Plenty of damage has been dished out. There's a team kill in them amongst all of it. It's a bit of a crazy chaotic round here. It's hard to fully grasp what's going on. And I'm sure G2 are just as shell-shocked as the rest of their teammates that have bowed out. 2 players very low. They may very well go for this. Amanek's going to claim the first in this retake, but neither of them have kits. They're going to have to get on this site very quickly. Amanek now, last man standing. He should be able to take down Vinny, only on 13 HP, but with so many bullets. Gonna miss his scout shot as well. How the hell are these 2 players still alive? And the damage to Yuri may take him down with a bomb. No, he survives with 4 HP, but a force spy, including just a CZ, is gonna come out ahead.
Yeah, this is a really scrappy start to the game, and I guess it is expected considering all of the roster shuffling that is present in this server. Obviously, people still feeling each other out, especially on that G2 side. A fully French team adopting 2 players from the Balkans. We are going to see Furia now. SIGs on 3 of their players. A Galil and an AK, so still no op present on the Furia side. So that question of who is the primary still has yet to be answered, but I'm sure we'll find out shortly given that we're on train. Ops will be out at some point soon. Another force up here from G2. It's an economic game of chicken vents. Who will break first? Who will lose a couple in a row to finally have to take that save?
Well, if we go with how the pattern has emerged so far, it would be G2 with their force spy. And they have got the first kill. And who else but Kenny S, who, by the way, has been in such hot form over these last few weeks. We saw him in the ESL New York event, especially the show match. Some of the stuff he was landing there was absolutely disgusting. But can he take that into these competitive matches? Well, so far the answer is a yes. Furia on the back foot, still 55 seconds to play with though.
And Kenny S posted up with that scout here, looking into TCOM to see what he can find. You got Kenny setting up Yuri here at Ivy, so a pretty default setup, all things considered, with Vinny just kind of holding the inner halls. A little bit of extra presence towards Ivy, but they're a man short. Pop flash for Yuri. Can't really use it. He actually got blinded. Waits for a second one. Does step out. Still not spotting anything to shoot at just yet. Kenny S, though, waiting here in the outer bomb site, peeking towards those outer halls.
Time is running dangerously low now, though. Yes, they've got that kill back, but they've got to get onto the site. They're still not entirely sure as to where these CTs are. Kenny S, lightning fast scout shot. Reigns in once again, and he's not done just yet. Lands the shot into Case Serato, tagged down to just a few HP. Has been finished off, and Henny's going to try and force the bomb, and G2 have kept the pattern emerged. It's another force spy that comes out ahead. This is ridiculous.
Oh, it is ridiculous, especially considering where Kenny S was positioned. I mean, he's in awkward space with a scout in the middle of the outer bomb site. He's going to be receiving pressure from multiple angles. Still somehow finds a way to have an impact in the round. Obviously, UMP also pitched in on that. And the force buying shenanigans continue. You do have Furia having that 1 SIG on Art. Deagles are out, a couple of P250s. No real utility, though. This is where you feel like surely G2 should be able to clamp down and win a second one in a row. They have a massive firepower advantage, and now they have the opening pick.
Maybe this is where the pattern will come to an abrupt end. They still have the SG, though. Yuri's going to pick that up as Hunter uses an SG against his compadre Vinny. So maybe some kind of sanity will re-emerge here on train. It's been lightning fast stuff, chaotic. Not always the best CS, but very fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you have G2, which probably has to be coming in. It's kind of a loose team considering the roster situation. Obviously, Furia is always known to be a very fast-paced, wild type of team. So this matchup does present itself to be a chaotic game. So no surprise we've seen a lot of flash and all to kick things off as Jax looking to put the finishing touches onto this one. Finally force a save out of Furia and be able to build a little bit of a lead on the scoreboard. There's another one from him with the AUG. So now all on Kenny with the SIG. He is not long for this world. Kenny with the Galil will stamp him out. And that's going to be 3-2 for G2. And yes, Furia should finally be looking to take a save. Art yet to get on the board, 0-5. No one really popping off at this point for either team except for Jax. He's actually had a pretty good start here. 8 kills with 5 rounds played.
And really, as a result of all of the chaos ensuing, it does mean that neither team's economy has really been in great shape. So we're not having AWPs anytime soon. Next round, of course, if G2 do lose a rifle, they could very well pick up an AWP, but Furia are going to be struggling a little bit as they look to just barrel their way over on the B side. It's a full eco. It's a throwaway round. They were hoping for the best, but there is a brisk 4K from one of the new members, Nexa. And the other one actually was picked up by Hunter. So it's all on that crazy board right now.
So the economic game has been won here from G2. They get the freebie in the previous round, but now Furia are back to buying. Everyone has got a SIG on this and some utility sprinkled around as well. So we'll have to see how Furia wants to open things up. So far, it does look fairly default, except for no Ivy presence. Kenny S has found the opening pick onto CORSAIR over towards that T connector.
It's been really stalled on this push, though, from Furia. They were getting naded consistently. It's another good flashbang in, followed up by an incendiary. Vinny is trying to make moves through Pop Dog, but he knows that it would be by himself for the time being. So G2 doing an excellent job of just keeping Furia at arm's reach and using their superior firepower at range, the likes of Kenny S's AWP, to the most deadly potential.
Yeah, it's like Furia's not even really able to get started in these last few rounds. I mean, obviously the eco, that goes without saying, but even on some of these rounds where they've had fairly equal buys, they've really been struggling to find an opening kill. Kenny S and Jax have really been on point finding those first picks. 4-on-3 in play right now. The remaining forces are going inner. There's only Kenny S there with the AWPs playing towards the back of the site, trying to see if he can't get a free pick before he needs to call for that rotation. Smokes, though, have really blocked him. He's missed his shot as well, being forced back to oil, and Vinny has evened it up into a 3-on-3.
An uncharacteristic miss is going to allow Furia to get the bomb across and get it planted. Had Kenny have landed that shot, it's unlikely they would have been able to do so. Now in position to maybe fend this off. There's no God Molotov, though, that can be backed in from upper, but Kenny, he's lost all of his support. He is the lone gunman now. The last man of which they can rest on. There's the first kill in. No grenades on his side either, so it's going to come down to timing. Does he guess right? Henny goes for the peek. Kenny's going to miss his first shot, but Henny's not going to peek anymore. He knows exactly where Kenny is. Kenny's still looking up there, and Henny's done a brilliant job of stalling it out and adding salt in the wounds as Kenny tries to pull back, lands the headshot. G2 back into very rough territory.
Yeah, really good job by Yuri there in the 3 versus 3. Like you said, Kenny missed a shot. They get the bomb in, but Yuri was really big from the sidewalk, kind of shutting down the initial part of the retake. Kenny gave them a chance, but once he missed that first shot on hitting it upper, you could kind of tell where that was headed. Obviously still fully bought, though, is G2. It's still just the 5-rifle setup here from Furia. Moving very quickly towards this inner bomb site, Vince. They are stopped by a little bit of utility, so this attack has been delayed, but you feel like you know where their intent is already. They don't have any presence anywhere else on the map at the moment.
That's very true, but any early information is going to quickly lose its value as there is so much time remaining. So Furia with 4 SGs, though, at this time, it's going to be very scary for G2 to face off against. And G2, though, they have depleted most of their funds, though. So if they lose this, they're in real trouble, economically speaking.
Yeah, both teams are pretty fragile in that regard. We do finally see Yuri and Henny making their way over towards Ivy to try to open up another option, maybe throw a bit of a fake, maybe even try to go back halls and split inner that way. Yuri was the normal guy who did play Ivy in the past, so we are seeing kind of the same default roles play out as we're used to seeing from Furia. Again, the question won't be answered until we see someone buy an AWP. Other than that, things are just kind of normal. And there you do see Henny and Yuri make their way up Ivy. Depending on if they smoke towards outer side, they could very easily get back halls. There is no one there from G2 to really stop that. It is basically just Jax kind of playing from sandwich, and maybe Kenny S, who's more towards the front of the bomb train, that might be able to stop them. But now they've jumped across. They have been spotted, though, and Yuri does get tagged.
You feel like it may be dual purpose. It may be trying to sell a fake. There's only the one player for G2 on the site, but that may be more than enough. CORSAIR gonna try and make moves through. 10 seconds remain. If Nexa plays his cards right, this round will be going his way. They're gonna try and fake the bomb out. Here comes Nexa, but he's whiffed his chance, and he's not stalled long enough. But here is Amanek, who had the information gifted to him, and sure, he goes down. But that round is gonna go the way of G2 all the same.
Yeah, a lot more chaotic than I thought it was going to be. They got those initial kills on the upper push at inner pretty quickly, and they had the back halls push spotted, so I thought they were going to have a much cleaner time of closing out the round, but Furia did catch a couple of key kills and almost found that bomb plan. It was Amanek who saves the day in the end. We are going to see Furia still able to muster up a little bit of something, though, here. Worth noting, though, only a couple of their players truly are fully decked out, a couple just on pistols. Again, a lot of focus early on here towards the inner halls. They have yet to really play too much with T-Con or Ivy. Granted, whenever you know CTs have utility, it's really hard to get out that T-connector early. So inner will be the ticket, it seems.
Taking it slowly at this point, they may be worried about a potential flank round the back, especially as Molotovs, or smokes, pardon me, and flashbangs are starting to make a move in. So one's going to need to watch that back space. Now the flash goes down, lands in the eyes of the terrorists, but now they're making a force onto the site, looking to engage and pillage the site. But Hunter stands tall with 2 kills, lands a dink, but this is where the rifles start to come into play from the Brazilians. They're fighting back with headshots. There is a flanker in the fray with the first kill. Jax is going to bide his time and wait for his second player in the form of Amanek to come in. Makes a bit of noise at the top, just shooting around the corners, trying to keep Furia interested while his teammate makes a move down in the ramp side. He's trying to draw the fire away from the side, and now Amanek can pounce. Henny is looking behind him, and there's going to be a kill coming back in from Yuri. Jax doesn't have a kit either, so he can't afford to stick on the site. Yuri's coming around the corner in the smoke. They're actually going to pass each other like 2 ships through fog. And finally, Jax lands the kill, but I don't think he's got enough time, and he's got to get out of there. G2 going to concede the round, although they pick up all 5 kills.
Man, this has been such a scrappy game. I mean, it started with the back and forth on rounds to kick off the half, and we've seen a lot of these rounds come down to these really crazy kind of 3-on-3, 2-on-2s. I mean, you kind of figure when the round started, when Hunter got those first 2 kills on Sidewalk and bought time for the rotation and got his team basically an instant 5 versus 3, that G2 would have a pretty easy time shutting it out, but then Furia breaks out with a couple of quick kills from multiple different players. They get themselves into even a favorable situation at one point, and then it all comes down to a quick 1v1. And a lot of it has happened on this inner bomb side. It's been just really wild Counter-Strike between these 2 teams. We're seeing it start to go to kind of that back and forth phase again. After a little bit of a winning streak there from G2 once they won the economic game, they benefited a few rounds from it, but now it's right back to back and forth. And these buys, man, they're so wild. I mean, even though Furia wins the round, they're still, you know, struggling to get full buys out, and G2 are forcing into this.
Yes, we still haven't really got a question for who's going to primary up for Furia, because they've been constantly getting these rifles, and instead, Yuri going to be taking the initiative with the rest of his team, trying to make a move outside of main, and Art is going to reap the rewards. It was a slow start for him, but now he's racking up the kills. Flashbang tossed over, lands in the eye of Art, but no one's there to follow up. And G2 forcing, because they killed all 5 players on such low weaponry, very few grenades, and Hunter, who is trying to shimmy his way into Pop Dog, has been found and fragged. Looking good for the Brazilians now.
Oh, absolutely. They have full coverage here on the outer bomb site. There is that flank coming in from Jax with the M4 that could cause some problems. In the meantime, though, CORSAIR has dealt with the back hall situation. And so it's looking like they should be finishing this thing off here soon. Jax does get one on the flank, but it's not enough. Art picks up on it right away.
CZ's able to drill down Henny eventually, but Furia are going to tie us up at 5 apiece. G2's economy in the slums. They're not going to be able to do anything this round.
No, not at all. This is where Furia can, you know, start to maybe even take over. And honestly, they're starting to build a pretty decent T-half, all things considered. I mean, it's been really scrappy. It's hard to really nail down who has control of this game truly. But if they wind up with 6 or 7 rounds by the end of the half, who cares? That's a pretty good T side.
So So the full eco, barring a deagle in the hands of Jax, who has, to be fair, landed the headshot on CORSAIR. That's all he can realistically do. But it is going to be a case of just burning through the rest of these G2 players. And I suppose you also have to ask here, Dust, when the roles are reversed and G2 go onto the T side, I feel like Train is one of the worst maps in terms of pugging. So how many strats are they realistically going to have up their sleeves as a unit? It could be a bit rough on the T side.
It's really both ways, you know, how much practice they've really gotten. And that's why I'm really surprised to see Train come out, especially considering that, again, Furia Train isn't really one of their strongest maps, to be honest. At least in the past, it hasn't been in comparison to some of the other options that they had. So it's a bit wild. Also, we were talking earlier about how, you know, who's going to be the primary AWP and when are we even going to be able to see it. To be honest with you, one of the strengths of some of these players is the fact that Art is a capable rifler, especially in kind of an entry frag role to set up someone like Yuri. And Henny, you know, he did have to play alongside KNG a couple of years ago on that Immortals team that made the finals of PGL Krakow. And they played together for several months. And during that period, KNG was the primary opper for the most part. So Henny had to do a lot of entry rifling, and he's done it in the past. So they do have that flexibility and being able to use, you know, a good spread of weaponry. So I don't know if it's going to harm them too much at some point.
Yeah, I mean, they had an opportunity in this round to pick up an AWP. They decided to go for full SGs anyway, so seemingly they're happy enough to stick with the rifles. It does allow them to mix up the pace on the fly. Losing the first player, though, to the hands of Kenny S, never ideal, and it is the aforementioned Art that has been sent packing in round 12. Meanwhile, G2 bolstering up the B defense, which sometimes only had the one player. With a second, it's going to be Nexa and Hunter. I expect them to have great chemistry together, of course. And Hunter has spotted a few players coming down the ramp. The Nexa's going to be putting on the heavy lifting. 2 kills and a dink onto Yuri. He's done his job. The question now on G2 is, can they clean up? Henny says maybe not quite yet. Yuri's been tagged down heavy. He's the back of the site. Henny's been finished off, but Yuri is going to be able to live a little bit longer as a result of Kenny S missing his AWP shot. But fortunately, Cavalry had already arrived, and G2 will bring us back to even again at 6-6.
Yeah, a couple of big kills there from Nexa really opens up the round for G2. Buys time for that rotation. Even though Honor goes down for free, everyone else who made their way over was able to find their man. And so now we're back tied up 6-all. There is the AWP finally showing itself, and it's in Henny's hands, Vince. So that seems to be at least the direction we're taking on this map. I'm not sure if it's a mat-to-mat thing for Furia or if Henny is going to be doing this no matter what, but he is the one taking the AWP for the first time for Fury here on the T side of Train.
Sure, and you know, you mentioned about Henny's previous teams, the likes of Immortals. It is a map where he typically shone with AWPing it. I feel like it's one of his favorite maps. We've seen some crazy flicks from him over the years on this very map, but he is not going to be picking up the first kill. It's going to be case to even trade back and forth as Jax finds the M4 kill. And now out come the T's. It's a spray from Yuri's SG. Henny has finally broken the curse with the AWP. And that leaves Jax, well, pardon me, correction, just Nexa remaining, and not for much longer. Furia, aggression through T main, has yielded yet another kill. And as you said, this half is already looking very good for the Brazilians, regardless of what happens from here on out.
Yeah, they've been able to win 4 of the last 5 rounds, or really, if you go back further than that, they've won, what, 5 of the last 7? So they're doing really good stuff right now, and they have G2's economy in the bin towards the end of the half, so they have a chance here to definitely at least get an 8th round right here, right now, and maybe even a 9th, depending on if G2 can put a stop to them. So yeah, it's definitely a nice start, and the other good thing about it is everyone's pretty much pitching in equally. It's like a 4 frag differential from top to bottom for Furia, so they're getting a good showing from their entire lineup.
Certainly are, and it's been one of those most scrappy games of Counter-Strike that I've casted in quite some time. So for everyone to be pulling their weight actually is a pretty good indicator of how well these guys are gelling for the time being. Again, you have to go back to the fact that yes, both teams have had roster changes, but G2 have brought in 2 different players and are now calling in a different language to what they used to. Yeah,
again, we know that Almanac has done that in the past with Misfits, and we know from interviews and such that Kenny S speaks some good English, but not sure about Jackson. Even still, when you're having to do it on the fly in chaotic situations, this game has had plenty of them, that's where it can still really be harmful until they, you know, get used to playing with each other more, and they have not had that time, that's for sure. Literally got announced yesterday.
It certainly did. Many teams, though, of course, here I say here, we're casting from home.
Well, here's the other
Gosh,
thing really
but-
quick, Vince. It's not even just that it got announced yesterday. Literally just 2 days ago, it's a completely different G2 lineup playing together in New York. So there's no way this team has had really any practice time coming into this event. A couple of days
Yeah.
at best. A day at best, probably.
I mean, that could be the case for a lot of teams at Malmö, honestly. A lot of teams were taking part at ESL New York. A lot of teams have had roster changes. So it's going to be very interesting and curious to see who comes out ahead. I have heard that apparently Envy are currently beating Astralis on the mainstream, which is madness. Who saw that one coming?
That can't be real.
That's what I've heard. I may have been debated. It is
It's
possible.
5-6 on train.
There you go.
That was on the T side. So I wouldn't rate too much on that.
Meanwhile, Furia have put G2 down, and Kenny S not going to be able to save. That's going to hurt them a little bit. 8-6 though. Here comes a timeout.
Might as well get one in before the half comes to a close. A big round for G2 as they are going to be able to get a full buy up. And they do need this round, you have to feel, to kind of keep this one as close as it can get as you transition sides. Obviously, coming into this tournament, G2 had an okay event at New York, but obviously a way different lineup. And really what predicated this move for G2 is that they did kind of start to fall off a bit with some of their results. Meanwhile, for Furia, it was kind of the same story. You know, earlier this year, they had the big results at the ECS Finals and at DreamHack Masters Dallas. That's kind of where they really had their biggest showing, actually, was Dallas, where they had that top 4. But since then, outside of the Arctic Invitational, which is a really small event, they've really had their struggles, particularly the major, and even losing to Sprout in the semifinals of that one tournament that they just played coming into this one. So they definitely both felt like they needed to make moves to get back on track, and now we're seeing the fruits of that now.
Well, we'll have to see if the fruit is ripe or not. Meanwhile, G2 with the first kill onto Henny, looking to at least put up a respectable scoreline here going through into their second half, where things could get a little bit sketchy. Kenny S getting Molotov'd out from the back of the site. Furia taking aggression and real estate outside, not for the first time. They've been very aggressive on their T side thus far. Seemingly like that is going to continue for the time being. They have been stalled somewhat with a 2-player advantage coming in. Art is going to cut that advantage in half, though. Now they only lead by the 1 player. Yuri slowly going up the staircase. It's going to be plucked out on the ladder from Kenny S, who is now turning his attention towards Pop Dog. And if Vinny slow peeks this, he should be a dead man. Kenny S has him dead to rights. He also has no grenades here, Vinny. He's hoping that Art can try and build up a little bit of steam, and he's done just that. Now Vinny can come out as Kenny S was caught preoccupied, waiting for the rest of his team to get in position. But Vinny is all alone. 38 seconds. He has control of the bomb. He could even maybe fake the rotation, but there's the first kill. Amanek's going to have him. He was so low from Nex's hands, and it will be 8-7. We're going to find out if they can have a solid half of the CT side for GT when we get back from this short break. Welcome back to Train. G2 Furia have been duking it out. It's been chaotic. It's been a real frenzy of Counter-Strike. Not always the prettiest of CS, but it's been entertaining. And now the roles reversed. GT on the T side, Furia CT side.
Indeed, it is. We're seeing Vinny take up the inner bomb side here on the pistol round. This was Abel J's old position, so I was curious to see who would take it up. And right now it's Vinny, at least in this pistol round. Pretty default spread here from G2 to open things up. They do have a decent amount of utility in play for a pistol round, but yet to see what they're going to do with it. They threw a little bit of inner halls pressure, but now you do see a lot of them maybe looking to line up some smokes for outside, considering that they're still sitting in those T-spawn locations. So it seems like they might be going for an outer hit, just kind of leaving Hunter and Enter to keep tabs on things.
Yeah, Fury are going to be hoping, of course, as well. They can get a pretty solid stranglehold over the map to get those AWPs out earlier. I think the first AWP we saw was in round 5 or 6. Which is pretty uncommon.
12 rounds in, it was 6-6 at the time.
Oh, really? That far?
Yeah.
Jeez. Yuri, though, he's trying to do this single-handed. He's dropped the bomb out and got 2 pixel-perfect headshots. The precision on that USP, it's so dangerous. Art, in the meanwhile, is going to pick up the slack. And Vinny will go down, but it is looking like almost a clean sweep for the CTs. Kenny's been tagged down for measly 9 and finished off by K. Serato. The second pistol comfortably goes in the hands of the Brazilians Furia.
Wasn't nothing scrappy about that, Vince. That was domination. We didn't have even a moment where it looked like G2 had a shot in the round. Really well done, particularly, obviously, from Yuri. Those first couple of kills really set the tone. G2 not going to be doing any forcing this round. They're going to full save Glocks across the board. Obviously, that is kind of an option you could do with this economic system we have now.
Yeah, certainly, especially considering they didn't get the bomb plant, which can really afford you the chance to get some rifles in that first round. Like, Henia, meanwhile, has just decided the MP9 is his best friend. AWP fun, in effect, 2 kills, spots Kenny S. This kind of range, the MP9s are not going to do anything special, but neither are the Glocks. So even though it takes a headshot, he's still got 50 health to play with.
And you have to imagine we're going to see a double op set up here pretty early on then between Art and Henny, considering the bank that they're going to have going into this next round. That's why Art is literally just on a USP, and Henny, with the extra cash he's gotten with the SMG, they could definitely go for it right away.
Concern maybe for Furia, though, is because G2 have got nothing in terms of kills and not a bomb plant. It could be full rifles and more of an aggressive push. So they have to be very cognizant of that going into the next round. If they pick up 2 AWPs and get rushed, it could be a problem. Well,
they do already have 3 rifles bought as well on Vinny, K-Strata, and Yuri, and 2 of those being M4. So they're actually, as long as they don't lose any of it here, they're well positioned.
And they're not going to lose anything. It is a clean sweep. Only Henny took a bit of damage there. Right. Now G2 have some decisions. It's going to be a case.
Absolutely. Sig for Amanek. There's one thing we can say about this G2 team is you brought on Nex and Hunter. That is 2 big pieces of firepower. They are doing so much with that crazy team. They look so good at the major. Had a couple of big tier 2 event finishes as well. They were in the finals of Tours, for instance. Yeah, so they definitely do have an increased skill ceiling. The big issue will just be how do they actually work out T-sides together tactically. I also want to know who's calling. It wasn't Nexa, obviously, for Crazy. I think Amanek was kind of doing shared leadership with Shocks for G2. So I'm not sure if it would be shared between the 2 of them or if one of them is the true in-game leader or not. We haven't really gotten any reports on that.
Your call about the double AWPs was spot on. Yeah, I've got 2 of them, but it's Yuri's M4 that breaks the deadlock. He will banish Hunter away into round 19. Smoke's being deployed onto main. There is already a player that's pushed through. That's going to be Kenny S with his AK. Meanwhile, Amanek making inroads through Ivy. There is a couple smokes there to greet him and a flashbang tossed in. So G2 are being repelled for the time being. Kenny's now shown his hand. He needs to get some kills. He's got 1, but runs out of bullets and runs out of health. Serato pushes him off his mortal coil. And there is no re-engage from Amanek, who's just stuck in Ivy. This is looking very stagnant from G2 now. They need an entry frag in the next few moments.
Yeah, they're actually in a really, really tough position. There are still 2 CTs towards inner bomb site, though. They're still not sure exactly where the distance is going to be, so that helps out G2 just a little bit. Vinny is going to take a pretty good amount of heat here. Very low HP. Nexa gets the kill on Z as well. Might find Vinny in just a moment. Indeed, he does. Nexa has broken this back open.
Henny 1 on 3. The new recruit, the new man. Can he kick it off with a bang at Furia? 20 seconds, enough time for the plant. There's the first kill, but now his position is compromised. He sees Jax moving to his left. Does he expect a second player up there on the site? Very unlikely. We know he has some crazy flicks in his arsenal of shots, but it's going to be Jax with a headshot that executes him and gets G2 on the board for the first time on their T side.
Yeah, Fury just never really got that rotation going. They were still very concerned about inner. It had 2 players there, in fact, for the longest time that really gave that extra bit of space for G2. Nexa making the big move up the bomb train. 2 big kills basically paves the way for G2 to keep this one close, and you see the repercussions. Furia, not a whole lot to work with in this round. The 2 oppers have to resort to deagles in this one.
Exactly right. And with lack of weapons, also lack of utility, lack of hope, a real chance now, a golden ticket back into this map for G2 to break down the economy. And again, we know that Furia have some solid AWPers, so keeping their economy low and in tatters is going to hurt them even more.
And they're trying to play up close here on the outer bomb site with 4 players strong. They finally have rotated K-Strata over towards inner, but it's a triple Ivy play, so a lot of weight on Art's shoulders, and he only has a deagle to defend with. Double inner setup here up close for Furia, and this is going to just allow G2 to break in a big, big way. Quick entries across the board. And this round's already pretty much done and dusty. You might as well save your weapons here if you're Furia.
Exactly, but guess what? Amanek's up to the task. He knows exactly what the call will be. He's in position to at least take away the MP7 He's going to reject that gun and reject the life of Yuri. And CORSAIR now can do little but sit here and hope for the best. If G2 decide to push him, he should be a goner. However, G2's economy is not in great shape either. So if CORSAIR can get a couple weapons away from them, it could make them sweat a little bit going into the next rounds, even though Furia will be into an eco themselves.
Yeah, I mean, this is where G2 should be tying this game up no problem, considering the economy for Furia. So we're back to a very scrappy game. It seemed like Furia was able to get really good control of the end of that first half. I mean, in the last, I don't know, 9 rounds played, they won 6 of them. All the CT rounds were kind of on an island from G2, so they did really good work to get ahead going into the second half. But now G2, they've been able to win a couple in a row here after Furia's pistol victory. And they're looking to tie this thing up. I mean, it should be without question that this should be a 10-10 game. There's really nothing Furia can do to change my mind on that.
No, and their buy has to be minimal, if not nothing. The only thing really is his use. Now we've seen a Deagle also elected for Vinny. I mean, this could even be double eco territory for Furia, to be honest.
Yeah, they're going to go for just a stack towards the outer bomb site for the most part. Even CORSAIR's tucked into Z. Now it's all 5 players towards outer, and they're in the right place. Art trying to get a cheeky taser kill in ladder room. We'll have to keep an eye on that. There's no one there, though.
Any kills at this point would be pretty special on the side of Furia. Definitely be some more money to play with, but it's going to be Amanek wielding his Mach 10. It's going to start to claim some kills. It's money in the bank again. Hunter has fallen prey to the USP. The Kenny S going to return the favor onto Art. There's another Mach 10 frag. And Yuri going to try and penetrate the smoke, see if he can maybe get a back attack, but Nex is there waiting for him. But at least Furia did get a kill. This is where the issue comes in, Dust. Do they go for a buy? If they do, it's going to be with no ops.
Yeah, no ops and utility would also be pretty limited if you're trying to go for M4s. So the halfway approach might be the ticket here, and indeed you do see some armor and upgraded pistols coming into play. So definitely looking to get the full buy in the next round. So they are kind of sacrificing this one 8-bit, but they do have some options to wreak some havoc. Those CCs in up-close positions. The scout on Vinny certainly might be able to come up with something.
Oh! Well, it's a massacre, and it's going the way of Furia. G2 only have Kenny S and Jax, 2 very capable players, but they're going to be overwhelmed if they push through the ramp, and here comes Art with his CZ. G2's hearts have been broken. Furia's bank account brimming.
Well, Vince, you know, we didn't really see that one coming, if we're honest. It's like the one way to lose the round, though, it feels like, when you know you're up against a low buy, most likely, is let's just run into inner halls together, where they might be pushing with CZs and just have, like, a crazy close-range battle where Furia definitely come out on top. And double op is going to be right back in play because of this for the Brazilians. G2 still able to full buy into this. No question who uses the op for the multinational former French team. That is going to be Kenny S. Nexa and Jax have already taken significant damage in this round.
Grenades and bullets put G2 a few moments away from another trophic round. They're still reeling off the back of that one prior, Dust. How do you even compute what happened? You just ran into the blender.
Yeah, I mean, it really is hard to come away with the fine conclusion of that previous round, other than, again, just chaos like we've been seeing all day long. But can we see G2 fight back? There is going to be a skirmish on ladder very shortly. 2 up close, and Furia will be the victors of it. They take out Hunter. They get the 5-on-4. They control the ladder room now. It's all about this Ivy push through back halls, though. We have seen a couple break through. Henny seems aware of it, though. He's waiting for it.
They are waiting and anticipating these pushes. G2, they're taking their sweet time. Time itself is going to start to become a bit of a conundrum. Kenny S, though, he's going to get their first kill. 30 seconds left. He's got Amanek just behind him with a CG, pardon me. Or SG,
from your events.
Yeah, this is getting a lot of information for his team, and with Jax going down around main, it is going to stall the bomb. It's only Nexa with 21 HP who has with the bomb. He needs Amanek to come in huge, and he's going to answer the call for 2. But Yuri and Vinny come out swinging. And that rotation was so vitally important for Furia.
Yeah, a big flank around from Furia, just the right time. It did get a little bit dicey when Kenny S was able to break through into the back calls, and he got that opening pick onto Art. That's whenever Furia kind of has to scramble a little bit on, being attacked from multiple angles with a little bit less resources to go around. But what they did do a good job of was maintaining control of the ladder room, keeping a forward presence on T-Connector, and while Ivy folded, they had really good entrance positions elsewhere, position themselves accordingly so that the back hall's play wouldn't affect them as much. And then, yeah, Yuri having that backstab was kind of the insurance policy on the round. So we go at 12-10. Furia starting to build up a lead again. G2 are on a bit of a force buy coming into this one. Kenny S just a CZ. Same for Nexa. Hunter with the MAC-10 and a couple of rifles in play. Limited nades to put to use.
G2 had that mini burst of rounds of 3 in a row, but it seems like Furia, off the back of breaking their hearts, breaking their bank, are now looking to go for the jugular and see if they can catapult themselves towards the finish line. Of course, this is a best of 1. We'll have best of 3s coming up later today, so Furia tantalizingly close, looking to impair the marauding push from G2, which is centralized around Pop Dog and towards B. Only one player here, it is Yuri. The rest of Furia occupying Connector and A. Now Art is having an idea as to what could be coming up with smokes being deployed onto the site, but it could be a ruse. The terrorists now making a move towards the Pop Dog. They don't have control of it just yet. Vinny's going to be called upon, and Jax gets caught on the ladder. Throwing a Molotov out, one of the freest kills Vinny could have hoped for. And G2 again, they've been stalled, they've been stymied away. They've got nothing really to gain from this. They've got nothing to take from it either. How are they even going to get through onto a site at this point?
I don't know. They're basically getting funneled towards the inner bomb site. Hunter does find one kill onto Vinny towards ladder, which does open that up a little bit now. They could still shuffle back over. They have split the defense up a little bit as well, 2 to each site. So it's going to help things out in a big, big way. But again, it still feels like a lot of their presence is going to be over towards these inner halls, and there are 2 defenders waiting for them. Case Rattles has this up-close angle on E-Box. Henny covering from the back halls. Smoke down on Ivy, so they are going to try to break through ladder. That means that Case Rattle's in a lot of trouble. Henny, though, still able to find a way to get the op in play, and Case Rattle has done his job. Whoa, Case Rattle for 3. And that was a tricky position, too. He was on E-Box. He could get pushed from T-Con and ladder at the same time, yet he finds a way to get the hat trick. That is brilliant.
And that is G2 moving one giant step towards an L here on train, because their economy, again, is in such rough shape. Furia going from strength to strength. They've got the double ops in play. They've got the MP9. They've got money in the bank.
Yeah, this is looking great for the Brazilians, Vince. Hard to see G2 fighting their way back, especially considering their roster situation, being on the T side, being on train, a technical map. Oh, okay, nice. Serrato. He's just rolling the momentum forward.
G2 are already down. They're being kicked over and over again in the ribs from wall bangs like that. Henny not going to do Jax any favors, just pushes him out of round 24. And he's going to be sidelined and goes in again. He's feeling it with the AWP. Kenny S and Nexa can do little divided. They're going to have to come together, but Art's going to stop that from being the case. And Kenny S, P250 in hand, may as well just go for broke. See if we can take some kills down with him. There is going to be something to play with here in the form of incendiary. I think he's just skipped by the peak from Art, who now knows exactly where he is and puts the bullet between the shoulder blades. Center mass. A Furia 14-10 lead.
Yeah, it's a couple of rounds away from winning their opening best of 1, which we know how important that is. This best of 1 does really weigh a lot. Either sends you in the lower bracket where you're 1 best of 3 away from being out of the tournament. Staying in the upper bracket after this best of 1 gives you that safety net going forward. So definitely very important to get this opening game, and Furia are well on their way. Just need to really put a stop to this round, because if G2 loses this, they aren't going to have the greatest of buys in what could be the final round. But in case Serrato, that's a wild little push there. Extinguishing, trying to get something. He's still staying posted up. Finally falls back. Didn't find what he wanted, but didn't take too much damage on that attempt.
It does also make G2 respect that there could be a re-engage, or if this does go a little bit longer, they're always going to be cognizant of that potential push. You can see, actually, Amanex still looking there. They've expended flashbangs just to make sure that Case Rotter was no longer around. So Case Rotter's done a great job there with that aggression.
Ooh. Nexus also taking a fair amount of heat here from Vinny, who put a incendiary on top the ladder, and he's been naded as well, down to 19 HP. Vinny bypasses their grenades somehow, takes some damage, staying alive, but that flashbang has done wonders for Hunter. Gets that opening pick. Henny strikes right back, though.
He does, but again, it seems disjointed from G2. They're not really gaining anything for these kills. They're just hemorrhaging life from nades, from flashes. These peaks, these aggressive plays. Amanek still looking down. Ivy, just making sure CORSAIR isn't flanking them. 35 seconds. We've been here before. Yes, G2, it's a very new roster. But they've got to be adaptive here if they want to stay in this map. Because Furia are just looking stronger as every second passes. 23 seconds now. They've got to make a move, and Henny is going to drill into Nexa. Amanek at least does get the avenging kill. They're going to start to move outside of main. There is also a flank in the meanwhile from Yuri, who can pop down into Pop Dog itself and rain some serious damage and serious pain. They're not even close to the site in the 7 seconds to go. G2 are going to be conceding this round, barring a miracle. They've got onto the site. Art, the meanwhile, is going to miss his shot. They get the bomb just in the nick of time. Is this really going to go their way? It is. G2 pull off the miracle. It didn't look possible.
It didn't look possible at all, but that's why Hunter's been brought onto this team, man. He is such an X-Factor player. Really, really great individual skill. He comes up huge. He had that pick into the ladder room that helped them get some space to work with. They did get a bit hesitant when Henny got that op kill up close on T-Con. I felt like they should have just swarmed at that point, but they didn't. They kind of held back, and they almost ran out of time. But Amanek just barely fits that bomb plan and had really no time to spare. And then Hunter teased off with 4 kills on the round. What a time to come up with a big multi-kill opportunity for his team. And now it's 11-14. They keep their economy a little bit here. Furia still able to full buy back, though. And the thing is, whoever loses this round is in really rough shape going into the next. So Furia could still be walking with this here pretty shortly if G2 were to get the reset here. But if G2 can get this one, they could really put this game in a really chaotic spot.
They certainly could, and they've started off with a kill. It's going to be Jax this time that claims the entry. Yes, he loses 50% of his HP. There's Amanek. Beautiful headshot around the corner of Ivy. Henny gets his brain splattered against the wall. Much better from G2.
Oh, they got this one now. They did the back calls to intersplit. They got the kill onto Art. Art seemed to be the one guy who could really throw a spanner in the works, but he was dealt with very efficiently. Bomb will go down. Furia need to save these 2 weapons. Their economy are not great. Did I just say their economy aren't... What? It's definitely 5 in the morning.
we all understood, Dust. We all understood.
Oh,
their economy's not great.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Should have been an is, not an R. I can speak English. It's fine. I do this.
We've got to pace ourselves. Look, we're casting a lot today and over the next few days. Yuri's caught that nade in his pocket. Kenny S. Kill by shrapnel. CORSAIR, not for the first time, going to be looking to save.
Where does that expression come from, catching a nade in your pocket? That seems unreal.
So well placed, it's gone in your pocket. It's like a,
like your pants pocket or like a shirt pocket? Like, what do you think seems... I feel like a shirt pocket is more reasonable.
I think
pants pocket is just too tight. Like, even if you aimed it, there's no way it's fitting in there, you know? Shirt pocket, though, maybe.
This isn't the first time that you've really dug deep into an analogy.
Yeah.
What was the other one you said? Oh, the kitchen sink thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was wild. We won't worry about that. Although I do stand firm on my position on that one.
I'll tell you who will be worrying now, though, Dust Furia, because their economy's bad. G2 have seemingly got a second wind, and they are feeling like this is very doable. They're going to take Furia to their limit. Started pretty slowly here, though, Dust. Just feeling each other out.
Yeah, G2 just kind of going for the same spread as they did last round. Last time they got the opening picks they needed, particularly Amanek up Ivy was really huge. Now it's going to be Kenny S and Nexa. They have been spotted by Art. Art will just back away. It's 3 towards inner right now from Furia, but after that spot towards Ivy, you do see Vinny shuffle over. Again, though, it's just the 2 P250s in the M4 and CORSAIR, so they have to kind of just bunch up together and hope for the best. And there's Nexa already finding 1 pick.
And that is the Soul M4. That's also been Molotov, so no one can go and claim it. Solid work by G2. M4's now been plucked up. Vinny's been smacked down to 5 HP, and the Glock at point-blank range with the headshot is going to best the M4 wielding Yuri. With Henny trying to land some headshots at range. May get this kill, not quite. Get a P250, it would have been a frag, but G2 unscathed, moved through. 13-14 now deficit, but it's getting way too close for comfort.
Yeah, we're finally seeing G2 catch a little bit of something here on their T-side. They've won the last 3 in a row after a 4-round streak from Furia that put them 1 away from map point. Now it's starting to get interesting, Vince. We're coming down to the home stretch, and these next couple of rounds will decide everything. Again, we know how important winning this opening best of 1 can be. Really sets you up a lot more easily to get to the playoffs, staying up here as long as you can. That goes without saying. Interesting setup here from Furia. 4 just kind of spread out towards the backside of the outer bomb site. Just Yuri playing towards inner right now. Same default opening from G2. They keep changing who's Ivy, though. It has been Amanek in the past. Last time it was Nexa. So you can definitely tell their roles aren't quite established just yet. But now the outer execute seems to be in the cards.
Yeah, it's coming through. This is where the 4-player stack on A is going to help Furia. They're not going to get caught in transition. Finny with his AUG, able to capitalize. Hunter has been dealt with. Molotov out though. Finny's going to have to relocate up into heaven. Will rain down some serious pain with the AUG. Nexa though, 2 entries, and Amanek is going to come alive as well. Yuri on the flank as ever is now the last man standing and has nothing to flank onto. So G2 looking good for another round. Yuri may save. Their economy's in no shape to go for this. And G2, they're pulling it back. They're now actually going to have the advantage as well. Economically speaking, they're way ahead of Furia.
Oh, absolutely. They got money for days. Next at $8,200. Kenny S will survive with this op and still have $5,900 in the bank. Same with Jax, a little over 7,000, still retaining a weapon. Meanwhile, Furia, ooh, that's a tough spot that they're in right now because you're basically either going to concede map points and play for the overtime by taking a save next round, or you're gonna force, and then basically you sealed your fate where you're gonna have to force for the rest of the game, unless you know obviously you're able to sneak in your first force buy and get to map point right away. So this is a tough one for Furia on which decision you should make. Really good work from G2 though. You're starting to see them find those openings all across the map. Particularly Nexa and Amanek have been huge on this T side, finding those key rifle kills. Really, it's just been individual efforts that have really kind of allowed G2 back into this. They tied it up, and indeed Furia still making their decisions on what they want to purchase. Vinny did get a CZ, and I think he dropped a scout over to Art.
So perhaps a difficult decision, but one that they've made pretty quickly. Sort of scouts being picked up almost instantly after the pause. Maybe more about where each player is going to be allocated. Scout obviously at range, you'd expect to see that over on the A side, but actually Art is playing aggressively with it towards the B ramp. So he's looking for that early contact. Pardon me, it's actually Yuri. It's not Art. He is playing on A as was anticipating, but he is up close on Pop Dog.
It's okay. Hunter though, finding that opening onto Vinny. Big kill from Hunter. He had a kill at ladder earlier, and they were able to use that to really push into outer and make things happen. So maybe we could see a repeat.
Following Pop Dog for control while they make a move over on the B side of the map. This is where Yuri with the M4, the most powerful weapon at this range, is currently sat. There's one. Next pushes out before the rest of his team, maybe trying to sell a fake. But this could get a little bit dicey, especially if CORSAIR can start teeing off with some deagle shots.
Yeah, absolutely. They kind of needed to follow that up. I don't know if the utility or something kind of made them come to a halt and not really follow through with that. Amanek has spotted Yuri towards Cloud. We'll back up here towards Kenny S, who has that posted up on the ramp. They still could take ladder control and go outer. That is for sure. They need to figure out something quickly because time is starting to get a little bit low. Seems like inner is going to be the ticket. They do have plenty of smokes and Molotovs to push their way into the site. There's no issue with that, and here does come that push.
Yuri's taking a different position. Dink's the first player through, which is Jax. But there's no one else there to help him out. Art's playing very passively at the back towards Connector. Connects the second shot onto Kenny S. Through the wall. Nice work with the scout, but this is where the superior firepower and positioning should triumph over Furia, who've been in the lead for quite a while, and now that may be just slipping away when the finish line is close, or perhaps not, as Art tries to shut me up with his scout. Hunter and Amanek, though, stand between them and a victory. CORSAIR and Henny just with pistols. The Deagle P250 combination is going to have to come out massively here. CORSAIR getting a few extra lives, but Henny, in the meanwhile, has got his hands on an AWP, and that means he's going to save it. Furia, though, going to have to battle against a map point and a match point for G2, who are trailing at 1.1410.
Yeah, they've done really great here on their T side to come back. Really, you've just seen Nexa, Amanek, a couple different players on these defaults be able to find those opening picks, and they've been able to roll them into victories. That round obviously came down to a 2-on-2, but the problem is Furia had such limited resources. In that 2-on-2, they had no kit. They only had pistols. Haney luckily able to get away with an AWP at the very least, so they have a double op, so they can put their best foot forward on trying to force extra rounds. But the momentum from G2 has been so strong. They have a great chance to close this here and now, it seems. Unless these ops have something to say about it, and so far, Jax has the entry.
4 kills to go for G2 to win this map outright, otherwise it's overtime. Yuri, though, battles back through the fire, through the smoke. Connects the headshot, Jack's gonna go down. Some grenades, smokes, flashes, everything being tossed against both teams. Gonna be looking to boost up and see if maybe they can pull off something special with Art. And the boost is going to yield a kill, and Furia are still getting kills. They're still clawing tooth and nail to stay in this map, to take us into overtime. Hunter may have a few things to say about that. In the post-plant, Furia may have the advantage in players, but no longer the case. Hunter, in living up to his name, taking down as many CTs as he can on his way out. And now it's down to Kenny S. He's missed one, shown his position. The bomb is ticking away ever so fast. It's in the smoke. Henny needs to go down, and he's not. Kenny S can't remedy the situation. But the defuse is not acceptable. It's not going to be quick enough. Oh. It's not going to be there. I think he came off it when Kenny started spraying him. And it's going to be G2 who pick up the map. What a heartbreak.
Oh, man. I can't believe that didn't go through for them. That's so wild. I thought they had it. They did so well. I guess Hunter bought just enough time with a couple of kills. And as you said, maybe Kenny S with that CZ spray got him off the bomb just long enough. But it's a weird anticlimactic ending, actually, all things considered. I thought we were definitely going to see overtime on that retake. They had a really good time of it. Other than Hunter's couple of kills, they were doing a great job. So, man, there you have it. G2 do come out on top 16-14. They do move on. The brand new team, the crazy kind of Frankenstein team, when you consider it being formerly a full French team and now international, they've come out big here against a Furia team that, you know, has been still heading around kind of top 10, top 15 in the world. So that's definitely a nice way to kick things off for this new G2 team.
I'm currently watching that back, and Henny had a kit, so he was on the site. He had a chance to defuse, and he came off it. Kenny S did enough for the CZ. It was so close to being done. Kenny S came off, went back on again. I think he got, like, lost in the smoke.
That might be it. Actually, from looking it back, I think he literally just was having a hard time finding the bomb.
Oh dear, that is so brutal. They had the overtime. It was there. It was within grasp, within touching distance. But
what a weird way to end such a fast-paced, chaotic, you know, frag-filled game ends on that.
The thing is, though, it kind of summarizes how the game went. It was just so weird and scrappy until the bitter end. Even the last play was. So there you go. Congratulations, G2. Commiserations in order for Furia, who they battled hard, but wasn't quite good enough in the end. That's the best of one done with. Next up, Dust, we have a whole bunch of CS over these next few days. It's Vitality Tai Lu. So that's another interesting game.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically Vitality with the roster change, shots coming in for MBK, and then even Tai Lu, they had a new fifth come in, Dan King, and then he's gone, and now they're back to kind of their older lineup. So it's going to be a weird kind of awkward situation for them, I think. But yeah, we're going to take a short break. If you folks are enjoying the cast, stay here because Vince and I will be here all day long. If you're wondering who we are, it is Vince and Dust. Give us follows if you want. I'm sure that Twitters will be in chat or something like that at some point. Other than that, though, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back and bring in the next game, stay tuned.